Hey, what is up YouTube, and welcome to my Lyrilusc deck profile for the July 2022 format. This is the going second OTK version of the deck, where you try to summon the assembled Nightingale as fast as possible, then buff it up with some equip spells and try to finish off your opponent in one turn by just attacking them directly a bunch of times. If you guys want to see more deck profiles like this, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment down below what decks you guys would like to see next and what changes you would make to my deck list. And let's get started with the deck profile. For the Lyrilusc monsters, I play Triple Warbler. This is your main starter card. If you control no monsters, you get to special summon this card for free from your hand, and then also special summon one Lyrilusc monster from your hand or graveyard. Then I play Triple Sapphire Swallow. For this one, you already have to control a Winged Beast monster, and then you can special summon this one plus another level 1 Winged Beast monster from your hand. And it also has a second effect where if you use this card as an Xyz material for a Wind Xyz monster, you can target one Lyrilusc monster in the graveyard and attach it to that Xyz monster as material. Then I play Triple Cobalt Sparrow. When this card is special summoned, you get to add a level 1 Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. And if this card is used as an Xyz material for a wind monster, that monster cannot be targeted by card effects. Next, Triple Wagtail. This card is very similar to Cobalt Sparrow, but instead of searching you a level 1 Winged Beast monster when it's special summoned, you get to search a Lyrilusc spell or trap. And if this card is in the graveyard and you control a Lyrilusc Xyz monster, you get to attach this card to that monster as material for free. And the last Lyrilusc main deck monster is Triple Canary. If this card is in your hand, you can target a Lyrilusc monster in the graveyard and then special summon both that monster and this card for free, but you can only summon Xyz monsters for the rest of that turn. And if this card is used as an Xyz material for a Wind Xyz monster, that monster gains 200 attack and it also cannot switch control. That is it for the Lyrilusc main deck monsters, and then I just play some good generic level 1 extenders, so Triple Jester Confit and Triple Turbo Booster. Jester Confit is basically just a free special summon, no restrictions, except for you can only control one of it. And Turbo Booster you can special summon for free if you have already normal summoned this turn. And even if you don't have any normal summons, you can just normal summon this instead. That is it for the monsters. And then for the spells, I play Triple Bird Call. With this card, you can take a Lyrilusc monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And then you get to special summon a different Lyrilusc monster from your hand. And then I play 2 copies of Bird Sanctuary. If you really have to find space for something, I would recommend cutting one of this, but I really like playing 2 of them, so you have more chance to draw it if they stop Wagtail. If you control an Xyz monster that has 3 or more materials, you get to draw a card. And if you control 2 Winged Beast Xyz monsters, you get to take one and all of its materials and attach them to the other, which is extremely important because sometimes you need to make your Recital Starling in your combo. And then when you make Assembled Nightingale, you can just use this card to attach your Recital Starling plus all of its materials to your Assembled Nightingale, which usually means 2 free materials. Plus then you get to draw a card because your Assembled Nightingale almost always has 3 or more materials. Then I play 1 for 1. This card is extremely powerful in the deck, obviously, because all of your monsters are level 1. Then for the draw power, I actually decided to play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. If Pot of Desires was at 3 copies per deck, I would actually play that instead. The only card that kinda hurts to banish is your Recital Starling, but even that you can play around very easily. And I guess if you banish all 3 copies of your Assembled Nightingale, but that will never happen. And even if it does, you still have Zeus and other Xyz monsters you can try to win the game with. And now let's go on to equip spells. The best one is Psychic Blade. With this one you can pay up to 2000 life points and then give a monster that much attack. So almost all of the time you will just pay the 2000 points to give your Assembled Nightingale plus 2000 attack. Next is Triple Stoic Challenge. With this one, your Xyz monster gains 600 attack for each of its materials, and it cannot use its effects. Next is Triple Power of the Guardians. Every time your Assembled Nightingale attacks, this card will gain a spell counter, and your Assembled Nightingale gains 500 attack for each spell counter on this card. And if the Xyz monster would be destroyed, you can remove 1 spell counter from this card, and none of these effects are once per turn. And the last card is 1 Backup Rider. This card just gives 1 monster 1500 attack until the end of the turn. This is probably the worst one, but I think the ideal number of equip spells to play is 10, even though this card is not an equip spell, but it still fulfills the same role. And that is it for the main deck. Then for the extra deck, the most important card is Triple Assembled Nightingale. This card can attack your opponents directly, and it gains 200 attack for each of its materials, and it also gains 1 additional attack for each of its materials. So for example, if this card has 5 materials, it is going to have 1000 attack, and it can attack your opponent directly 5 times. So that is 5000 points of damage. And you can kind of see now why the equip spells are so good in this deck, because let's say this card can only attack 3 times. Even then, all the equip spell boosts basically multiply by 3. And if that wasn't enough, this card also has a very good protection effect, where you can detach an XC material as a quick effect, and then for the rest of the turn your Lyrilusc monsters can be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage. Next I play one Recital Starling. This card gives you a free surge by detaching an Xyz material for a level 1 winged beast monster. Then I play Triple Robin. This is the best one to make going first. This card gains 500 attack for each of its Xyz materials, and when your opponent tries to special summon a monster, you can detach an Xyz material from this card and bounce that monster back to the hand, and that effect is not once per turn. This card can have, for example, 4 interruptions if it has 4 materials, because then it can bounce 4 monsters that your opponent tries to special summon. And if this card is destroyed, you can target a Lyrilusc monster in the graveyard and add it to your hand. Then I play one Thrush. This card sometimes comes in handy because it gets rid of back row. And then I play 3 copies of Kiki Nagashifucho. This card is actually very important because if they force you to go first in games 2 or 3, you always have to make this card to ensure that you will survive their turn, and then you can just OTK them next turn. This card is unaffected by card effects, and you can detach an Xyz material as a quick effect to make it indestructible by battle that turn. So what I like to do is I like to make this card first, and then use the rest of my materials to make a Robin, which then provides interruption, and Fucho ensures that I will survive their turn. And if they kill the Robin, I can get back one of my starter cards from the graveyard, which can help you OTK next turn. Next up is one Sylvan Princess Sprite. This is probably the most situational card in the deck. This is when you do not draw any equip spells and you don't have enough damage. You can make this card and hope that an equip spell is on top of your deck, because then you can add it to your hand. And then I play 2 copies of Zeus. This card is obviously very crazy in this deck, because if your OTK doesn't succeed, you can very easily make a 4 or even 6 material Zeus. If I had a 3rd Zeus, I would probably cut the Sylvan Princess Sprite for the 3rd Zeus, so if you have it, do that. And the last card in the extra deck is one Great Fly. This card is basically a mini equip spell in the extra deck, because it gives all of your wind monsters a 500 attack boost, which helps you get enough damage for OTKs. And that is it for the deck profile. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment down below what decks you guys would like to see next and what changes you would make to my deck list. Thank you guys so much for watching, have a great day, and I hope to see you soon.